Hi, welcome to Stitchy Memories. This is Melissa. It looks like I'll be changing the name of this YouTube channel due to the news that I've received that Stitchy Memories is the name of a needle workshop in another state, and it's kind of creating a little bit of a couple of issues. I am at a friend's house today, which is the first time I've had Wi-Fi in a while, and where I felt comfortable enough that I could go ahead and do some filming. So I'm kind of going to go back and forth between some screenshots and some face shots, just because that's kind of the way it is. I still have not learned how to do any editing yet. So I'll be working on that. My big project I'm working on, as you can see here at my friend's house, is compiling all of my data. There were a couple of years that I was very active and a larger number of years that I haven't done much. I am at this current moment going through some spreadsheets and trying to just put everything together, check for clarity and consistency and see if there's any errors, and kind of fixing the spreadsheet. My base spreadsheet started with input from Stitch. He has a wonderful series of spreadsheets. I wasn't able to get any of the graphing to work. My computer doesn't have any Excel programs loaded, so I'm having to use Office Source and Open Office, and it's just not as easy for me to work with. Excuse me. Plus my computer is very old, so I've been having a lot of issues. But while I'm at a friend's house, it just gives me the time to kind of go through this and kind of see what everything is. I have figured out, as near as I can tell, I have 110 projects that are in some sort of started state. So that's, even if it's just one stitch in, some of them only have one stitch from a Stitch Mania, where I even have them listed in the computer here as kitted still, just because I'm not even, I counted the stitch and the stitch counts, but I didn't post any of it to Stitch Mania because to me it just didn't even count. So what I'm trying to do here today is figure out, I am too late for the Year of Whips challenge this year, but I'm going to kind of do my own starting it late, just because I have a large number of whips that I need to get taken care of. So kind of the things that I'm going through here on this left side is just a list of the projects in order of the date that I started the project. Over here is my own numbering system, and then this is how I compile the numbering system. So those two columns are basically the same thing. Then I have a completed day and I have an FFO date. I have a post date if I posted it to any websites, which I haven't kept up with. Also, which stitch along it was with. I'm trying to rebuild part of that today. I'm working on that down here. And then I just kind of have this little this is kind of where I'm validating still that all of this is still correct. As I made some changes, I want to make sure my formulas are still doing everything correctly. But I wanted to kind of see from year to year, maybe are there months that are really good for me stitching, months that aren't necessarily good, so that I make sure that I join the stitch alongs I can really be active in, because there's been a lot of stitch alongs or events in Facebook groups or other places that I've joined fully intending to keep up and post, and life happened. And I'll give a more extensive life update probably later on, but there has been a lot going on, which will explain why there's a number of years that there's not a lot of activity. I kind of got a little bit of reinvigoration here at the end of 2018 and 2019 due to a health issue, which kind of forces me to do more sitting. And then I'm just kind of see there's some wonkiness here because it says I have 105 starts, but I have 110 listed. So I got to do some figuring here. But anyway, that's kind of what this is that I'm working on. And then what I'm doing here is I'm trying to list some of the different stitch events that I want to continue doing. There's a lot in here I haven't added because I'm just in process of this. There was a stitch shop that I was at that closed, but on Saturdays we would have a Sonata where they normally close at 5. They would stay open till 11 or 12 and we would stitch. So what I want to do is, even though that store's been closed, I want to keep doing stitching on the months that have 5 Saturdays. So if they have 5 Saturdays, on one of those Saturdays, it's probably not going to be the 5th one, it might be the 3rd one, 2nd, whatever, I will work as much as I can on a project. My goal is to stitch until midnight. So I was just highlighting here the different months that would have as I've been going along, I've been tracking when I should do them. Whether I'm doing it or not is a different story. I'd like to do 1 start each month. There's a couple of things I've done that are not recurring, so I'm probably not going to do those again. I would like to do a jump into a new year, new start kind of thing. But there's a lot in here I haven't put in. Like I would like to do something for Advent. I'd like to do something for Lent. I'd like to do something for 12 Days of Christmas. You know, there's a whole lot of other things I'd like to do. Of course, Stitch Mania and, you know, and some of, there's so many I don't want to leave any out. So I'm just kind of where I'm at right now is the ones I'm working on. Focus on a finish is something I want to use for February. Not that I can't focus on finishes the rest of the year, but it's a short month. Other than Valentine's, there really isn't any holidays I would stitch for, and I really don't stitch that much Valentine things. So I'm thinking of just kind of doing that as a focus on a finish. I would like to start doing something for my birthday, even though my birthday is not something that I like to celebrate. I'm hitting a big one this year, and so I'm trying to look at it a little bit more positively, and so I want to choose something I really adore to use, that I start or that I continue to work on for my birthday or my birth month. I'd really like to do some more Easter patterns. I want to do something for my mother. She's still alive, but we're estranged. And I'd like to do something that just reminds me of my mother. And she's a grandma, so I'm working on, or was working on, grandmother's house or grandmother's place. I have to find the correct name of the pattern. And so I'm going to use that every May after I finish my Stitch Mania, whatever date that is, from there to the end of the month, and I'll work on that whip for her birthday, and then I'll do a minimum of stitches equal to her age that year. So my goal on Stitch Mania was the original 15 starts, but I already had a whole bunch of whips, so I ended up, which that's something else I'm working on today, is finding out which whips I used for Stitch Mania. See how many of those still are not done, which unfortunately is going to be a lot. So then the subsequent year, so 2015 would have been 15 starts. The rest of the days of the month would be existing whips. 2016, 16 starts, 17, 17 starts, etc., etc. Except for I have so many starts that I didn't do inside Stitch Mania, so I'm moving those to starts / whips. And I've seen a number of people that use a guide of, let's say I started something on May 1st and I finish it that year or subsequent year, the next May 1st, then I start a new project in its place. So I'd like to start doing something like that, and that is another thing I am working on tracking is which ones I can do, and I'll kind of show you my planning spreadsheet on that here probably in the next video. I just realized there's some noises in the background. I am pet sitting, so there's a doggy chewing his bone, and there's one laying on the chair, and there was a kitty cat on my arm. So if they pop in or their noises are offensive, I'm sorry, I can't hear them, but that doesn't mean that you can't. And then I think a buzzer just went off, and that's banana bread that I'm baking. I haven't baked in years, so that's my warning that I need to go check it. So this is probably a good point for me to just kind of leave this like I'm going to do a start for my mother. I'm going to do the same thing for my father who's passed, in honor of my sister and my brother on their birthdays, also estranged from them. And then I have 9 nieces and nephews. So instead of doing one on each of their birthday, what I would like to do is, even though I'm estranged from my family, I would like to have representations of them in my home. So I'd like to have a stocking for each of my nieces and nephews to hang up, each of my family members. So I'm thinking of picking, you know, something that reminds me of children, reminds me of family, or stockings. And I picked the month of August just because it's the month that seems to have the least number of children's birthdays and other holidays, just so it gives me a chance to actually work on it. I'm also working on the year of whips, trying to figure out how I'm going to do that for my own this year. I'd like to start doing the figuring out what I'll do for Darktober stitching and Dark 13 stitching, and then I think that that's it for right now. So this gives me a good point to stop here, try and get this uploaded, and then I'll record another video with kind of my plans for the rest of the year. We'll see how that goes. I'm not holding myself to anything. I'm just putting rough plans, intentions, goals, and I'm not punishing myself if I don't. I think that's why I kind of stopped stitching at first, because I wasn't meeting my goals and it was bothering me, so I just stopped. But I need to have some sort of goals, or I'm not going to do anything, because I'm going to look at everything that I have to stitch, and I want to stitch it all, and I spend more time looking and planning and playing with it than I actually do getting stitches done. So I'm so thankful to be back to Flosstube. I hope that I still have some of you subscribers there. If you would like more videos from me, I will endeavor to have them out soon. I don't have much with me to show as far as actual stitching that I'm working on. I think I only have 1 or 2 projects with me, but I can show those in the next video, as well as go through the rest of my 2019 plans. I hope that you all are enjoying your day, and that you continue to make those many warm stitching memories. Bye-bye.